Hello, welcome to this week's Speedpaint Sunday. I'm Talien. It's been a little bit since we had one of these, um, but yeah, we're back with another speed paint. I did want to take a little bit at the start of the stream to tell you guys about the fundraiser that I recently joined. So we're raising money for the Women's Foundation of Minnesota, and in particular their what was it called? Immigrant Relief Fund. I forget the exact name of it, but essentially, it's raising money to help defend immigrant communities in Minnesota, given, all the shit that's been going down there. There are some things that are relevant to our speed paints here. First of all, one of the rewards for the fundraiser is if you donate $10 to the fundraiser, you can get a speed paint commission. So I will do one of these for whatever, well, not literally anything you send me within some reason, but yeah, you can send me your own images or whatever for me to do as a 1 hour speed paint. Um, yeah, there's that. And then also among the donation incentives, there are goals for bonus challenges on the speed paints. So the way that'll work is if I get to a certain goal on the fundraiser, after the end of the fundraiser, which I haven't actually decided when I'm going to end it, but eventually it will end, and then I will do whatever speed speed paint commissions I got, and then after that, the next regular speed paint will get extra spins on the challenge wheel for, however many milestones we hit. Currently on the like on the donation milestones, I have two of them. So the first one will be +1 for, you know, two total spins, and then the second one gives me a third spin. We can potentially maybe even go further and add more as we get more milestones, but for now it's just the two on there. So, yeah, that's how it is. Um, I guess let us get started on this speed paint then. What have we got? This is an I feel like this is a relatively simple one as far as these Genshin backgrounds go. I think the main tricky business is going to be getting in all this glowy stuff because I'm just not very good at the glowy stuff. Get this farther out. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on behind all this glowy stuff here, but on the other hand, that also means that it's not super important for me to get it right because it's going to be covered by glowy stuff anyway. So, no big deal. Oh boy. All right. Hmm. I'm already feeling that this might be like a relatively low layer count one. I think I might be able to do even just like one layer for pretty much everything and then like the glowy effect on a separate layer or something. Just because it's relatively low contrast, if that makes sense. Like everything's kind of foggy, kind of um like I don't know how to call it. But there's just not I don't need to have a very strong definition in between stuff. Um, it's kind of hard to say if this is like background rock or if there's like a distinction between these parts, but again, it's not super important to get that cleared up because it is sort of all one thing. Yeah, I think this might be enough for the sketch. All right. Yeah, honestly, I think I'm gonna just start putting this all in one layer. What kind of layer do we want this to be? What kind of color do we want to put as the base? No. It needs to be a little bit darker than that, I think. That's not great, but no, I want to try going a little bit more saturated because I feel like it always ends up getting muddied up. That's probably good enough. Then we can go in for like some darker colors. We'll fix it up later. This is just kind of actually this is surprisingly for like a first try, that's surprisingly close to this. That's actually not bad. It's just kind of a random color that I picked and it turned out to work decently well, which is very rare. This side is obviously going to end up getting much darker. Here we'll need to, I think I'm going to just start by filling this all in with this color. I think that's good enough. We're going to need to get a lot of purple in here. We need to get darker here. And then obviously the glowy bits are going to be really important. I think maybe just start with the purpley stuff. Am I gonna regret putting this all in one layer? I don't know. What could I need to put on separate layers? I think actually putting this foreground stuff on a separate layer could be good, just so I can handle overlaps between it and the glowy stuff. Because yeah, that could potentially not play well with other things. So I'm gonna put these rocks on a separate layer. Okay. Hello, Feather Dust. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming. I don't know if you missed my spiel at the very beginning about the fundraiser and stuff, but essentially what you need to know is that for $10 donated to the fundraiser, you can have a speed paint commission, and also for every $20 that we hit in overall milestones, I throw extra extra rolls on the challenge wheel. So, um, let's see. Let's do the purple first. Purple. Purple kind of needs to be lighter. Also, I think I went maybe a little bit too purple. Is that a decent purple? I think it's too pink. Although, you know what? I think I want to get more into the habit of exaggerating things a little bit. You know what I mean? Like just go a little bit over. Okay, now that I'm actually like putting it in like this, that is way too hard. Or by hard, I mean like too intense. Is that okay? No, that's too dark. I don't know. Maybe just make it less purple, actually. There we go. I think that's maybe better. Whoa, don't do that. And I'm going to put it in through here because that's going to get covered by the foreground stuff. Put it all over here. What are the payment methods? I'm not 100% sure. I know you can pay by PayPal, and like by credit card and stuff. I don't know what the limits are and like which credit cards it accepts or whatever. Um, so I'm actually not 100% sure. If you click the link in the pinned post, did I pin it? Yeah, I think it's pinned. Um, yeah, you can have a look. If you do check it out and find something interesting or unexpected, feel free to report to the people. Good for foreign people if there's PayPal and such. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not really familiar with like oh my gosh, what payment methods people use in other countries and stuff. Okay. That's decent enough. I think my freaking I keep trying to push that to the left, but it needs to be more to the right. Um, okay. That's a start. Oh wait, why am I doing this on that layer? Oh, I wanted to put that on a separate layer. Okay. Undo that. I think let's start going in with the darker stuff. I think we can get these darker. Let's switch to the dense watercolor brush. And I can do this with kind of the horizontal strokes to give it a little bit of texture. Oops. Now that I'm going in with this dark, I think my sky also needs some darkening, but we can do that later. Not the end of the world. I'll start with here, but this is gonna really need to get even darker than this. I think I also want to go a little bit purpler in these shadows. This is kind of a weird one because I feel like it has like way less detail than I'm used to having to put in these. It almost seems easier. Although a lot of this is going to get covered up by the the glowy bits. I think I might want to go with the thicker brush for this stuff. Is that too purple? Well, so in here it's like um the area is in shadow, but there's also the glowy stuff in front of it. So I don't know how much I want to do on this layer versus just adding on top of it with the glow layer. Yeah, I think I want to de-purple a little bit. Because like this is clearly originally like a brownish kind of stone, but it's in this very blue lighting, which always makes things awkward. No, I think I do want to go with the thick brush though. Yeah, I don't know. This is looking weird, but I don't think I want to get too caught up in it. Although, no, let's figure out what I want to do for this. This would be like this is going back into these teal blues, but more on the gray side. Maybe something like this would be good. That's maybe too much even. That's sort of good. No, I don't know. It's looking too gray. Let's go with that for now. That shape is weird. It's a little bit awkward, but let's do that for now. What else do I want to do? I did want to darken up the sky, but I don't know how important that is right now. That's a better color, I think. I actually want to kind of lighten up some of these bits at the bottom. And then there's going to be a, although actually no, maybe I'm lightening it too much. Okay. All right, sort of like that. There is like sort of a purpley-ish. Maybe if I can get like a darker-ish purple. Okay. No, that doesn't look bright at all. That's too purple. Way too purple. All right, whatever. Close enough. Let's see. Should we start going in with the glowy stuff already? I don't know. Let's maybe get some of the foreground stuff in here first. Whoa. And here we need a little bit more of the teal sort of color. It's a little too light, I think. That's a little too dark, I think. That's probably too saturated, but we can fix that. Honestly, most of that is going to get replaced with shadows anyway. We have this weird color here. That's, I think, maybe let's get our one of our grayish colors. See how well we can get that to work. It needs to be way darker, but I think it's a start. And some of this also needs to be more blue for sure. Way darker. Way, way darker. Ah. Too teal. Still too teal. I think it might just be because it's blending into the existing teal stuff. Okay, that's getting somewhere. A little bit of this on. It needs to get darker eventually. Whoa. My program is lagging again. I think I might go ahead and just... Is my tracking also lagging? I think it's okay, but yeah, I've been having issues with it recently where, yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna turn off my tracking. I'm going invisible. I'm still here. I'm just giving my computer a little bit of a break because I don't think it can handle all this. I think this was the purple I was using. All right, something like that, I guess. I am losing some of this like grayish stuff. Let's try to put some of that back a little bit. Was it this one, I think, that I was trying to use? I think maybe let's go a little bit lighter though. And do that with a thick brush. Here we go. Something like that. I think we could go even darker in some of these shadows though. I do like being able to spend time just refining one rock, but we do need to work on other stuff. So, let's maybe try starting out with this color as the base. That's too light. But you know what? I think it'll make a decent base. We can work from that. We can work with this. It's fine. See, look at that. It's already pretty good. I think I could go more purple on this one though. Stop doing that. Gosh. And then we need, what purple did we have? This one? We need something more purple than that. Let's see. Oh, I mean, we have plenty of purples to choose from. Which one is going to be good? That's way too purple. It actually needs to be more blue. Okay. Oops. That's like still too purple. Why is it turning out weird? How are we on time? Okay, we're about at halftime. So I think we're doing good just because this one doesn't have a whole ton of detail in it. But there's definitely still a lot of work for us to do. I think it might be time to go on the glowies. Just put a little bit of lighter color in some of these just to make it pop a little bit. Whoa, do not do that. Stop. Stop. I accidentally can click the bottom controls, I think. All right, let's see. Let's put a layer in between these and start putting glowy stuff. In particular, there's all this. You know what? I think I'm actually going to start on the bottom layer here and just lighten up this stuff. Go way teal. Let's start with like a this stuff. Yeah, maybe just kind of fill all of this in with this. And then get like, I don't know what would be a good color for the shadows on this. More blue, darker, obviously. That's actually still too teal, I think. Let's just go straight blue. No, it's kind of too dark though. Yeah, something like that. Okay, that's a start. Now let's start getting a little bit lighter in some of these places. Yeah, this whole stuff I moved over a little bit too much. Oops. Okay, something like that, and then let's start our second layer and start putting the glowies on it. What glowies do we want here? And how much of the glowy do we want to keep on which layer is the other question. I don't know if you guys can even really see the effect of what I'm doing here, but just making everything a little bit more glowy. I'm definitely going to need to add more light to the layer below too, though, because this is never going to be enough. Let's make another layer for the actual glowy bits. Whoa, too much. You have to be really careful with the with your pressure on this tool. I need something that is not quite so sensitive to the brush pressure in terms of the opacity, but is more sensitive in terms of the brush size, because I want to make this like kind of tapered look. Although I could probably do that with like the eraser. I think I need a different brush for this. What brush would be good? Maybe just like the airbrush or something. This will do well enough though, I think. Once I have a base to work from, I can... Oops. Slim that down a little bit. Just kind of blend it out a little bit. Glowy bits are so hard. I do think that's working surprisingly well for that effect, though. Hey, what did I accidentally click? Okay, that's getting there. I do want to make it a little bit more intense. Oops. Let's go for smaller. Stop doing that. I'm spending way too much time on this. Although it is like one of the main focal points of, well, it is the main focal point of this piece, so I do need to spend time on it. But I also need to spend time on other things. I definitely need to make the part behind it pop some more too. It's not bright enough right now. So let's go back to this layer, I think. Man, I feel like there's still so much we need to cover here. Kind of like that? Is that bright enough? I think that's maybe bright enough. And then the stuff back here also needs to get lightened up. Kind of like that, probably. Let's get back some of our other colors. Like I think maybe some of this. Like that. And then where were some of our purples? No. For shadow. I don't want this shadow to be too purple though. Yeah, get some purples in there. And get some of that kind of stuff. Let's see. That's a little bit too much, but maybe if I just go in lightly with a soft brush. Yeah, that's better. And here too, honestly. This just needs to be bluer. I went too ham with the purple, I think. But that's just how these speed paints go. I go a little bit ham, and then I tone it down. And then that back and forth is what makes a good painting. That is just the process of painting. Yeah, I think it's still it's still too purple. All right. Let's see. There's obviously a lot of details with trees and stuff, and there's still more glowy things to put in. But I want to like make sure I have the basic like the background done before I go ham on that stuff. So I think I might be ready though. I think we might be ready to put in the trees and stuff. There is also like a little bit of waterfall here. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to capture that. I think I'm just going to ignore it for now. If I have some time afterwards, then I'll put in the little waterfall in the corner. I would like to be able to put in these glowy bubble things as well. So, first order of business, I think, is trees. So let's go do some trees. Actually, let's put some clouds in that background first. Y'all know how much I love clouds. I can't just not have clouds. And just put them in real quick. Really fast, rough little clouds. Just a little bit here and there. Okay, we have clouds. Then let's put in some of the details around this. The top of the cliff here. Put in a little bit of that. This isn't really accurate to the actual, you know, landscape here, but whatever. It's just kind of more or less similar is all I really care about right now. Give it a little bit of shape. Okay. Trees. Trees. How do I want the trees to go? Let's get our thick paintbrush on a very small size. And just start putting some trees at the top there. And I think these are not all trees, but some of them are also just like rocks sticking out, but it's hard to tell at that distance what's what. We'll just put some kind of lumpy shapes at the top and, you know, hope that they read as something. They do have a bit of a nice kind of like light on the outside from, you know, obviously they're lit up by moonlight presumably. But I don't think I'm really gonna have time to put that in. I might try. Let's maybe give it a try. That actually looks nice. Just give it a little bit of something. Sure, good enough. So that's those trees. Let's put in some of the trees in the front. So there's like, I would say two types of trees or shrubs, whatever. There's the more teal ones and there's the more purple ones. So I'm gonna try to put each one in with like its own color. So the teal ones will just all be one color, even though that's probably not really accurate, and then the purple ones will all be one color. I think this is like too dark for this side. Although maybe not. I don't know. Okay, well, that's definitely going to need some highlights. Um, let's get both of our colors here. Why is that? I feel like that's a little bit too harsh. Oh well. It is what it is, I guess. How are we on time? We have a little bit of time. Uh, just kind of doodling randomly at this point for the trees. There are also these like shell edges up here that I probably am not gonna have time to put in, but would be nice if I can manage it. Is that enough for the more bluish trees? I think that might be that. So let's try to get some more purpley things in here. Is that too intense? That's maybe too intense. But I know things always like get muddled as I paint them in. So I kind of have to start intense and then it'll blend itself in by the end. Man, there's so much of tree stuff going on around here. I just kind of have to draw them and pray. They're gonna coalesce into coherent trees eventually, I promise. I can't actually promise that. I'm gonna try though. Mm, yeah, it's like getting too pink. I think, yeah, let's just try something like that. Oops. There's just like a whole bunch of trees and stuff back here. I don't really have time to put them in all their detailed glory, but there they are. There's some trees. What other trees do we need? Get some more of these purpley trees over here. I do want to get these other blue streaks and stuff in. So how much time do we have left on trees? I want to put this one in, and maybe whatever the heck is going on back here. That should have been more of the teal tree though. So let's get that in there. Although that's not really a good color for it either. Maybe like an in-between. Actually, I feel like maybe it should be more purple. I don't know. It's a tree. It's some sort of tree. There's that. Let's maybe try to make this tree similar to that. Oh gosh. What the heck? Why is my... How long has my pen pressure been broken like this? What the heck? That's not good. What is my computer doing? I'm gonna unplug and replug my tablet. What is happening? Okay, here we go. That was strange. I don't know what happened there. Let's go with that. And then give it a little bit of... I think it's when I noticed that the, like, things weren't blending right. That's probably when it broke. And I've just been painting like that for a while. Oops. There's that. Let's try to put that purpley bush in there too. Oops. That's too purple. I keep making things too purple. Is that good enough? There's like some more bushes over on this side and stuff. I don't know how much I need to care about them. Oh no, that looks awful. Whatever. They're bushes. Eh. Not important. I think we have 10 minutes now. I do want to get those blue swirlies in, and then if we can get some... What's it? Get some of those like bubbles in. Okay. I think that's enough for the foliage. Swirly time. That sounds wrong. Let's just get another layer for those. What kind of brush do we want for that? That's not quite right. Maybe I should put some kind of fancy layer mode. That's working decently well for a start. I think I might need to do multiple layers of all this stuff. Okay, no, I don't love how that's turning out. I think probably I should put um the brighter parts first and then put the other stuff behind it rather than the other way around. Yeah, I think I probably do need some kind of fancy layer mode for this. What do I want to try? Like a dodge of some sort. Yeah, dodge is working well. I think dense watercolor would be better. Whoa! Okay, it's a little bit too much. Maybe that one is better. Or rather, this one. I want something like the dense watercolor, but a little bit. I want something in between. I think what I'm going to do is actually just use the dense watercolor and then just lower the opacity on it a little bit. Ah. Um, Actually, I think that's good for like an in-between step. I think I can start with this and then add other stuff to it. It is a little bit not teal enough. I think it's turned out a little bit too blue, but I think we can fix that with like another layer. Um, Oops. Oh, I probably should have. Let's do a little bit of whoops. Over here too. Mm. Man, I always just feel like I don't quite have the right brushes for the things that I want to do. I need to potentially work on that. Why am I... You know what? This is actually surprisingly working. I was going to erase with the same brush, but drawing with one brush and then erasing with a different one is actually kind of doing it. I don't know. Still not super happy with how this is turning out, but I think it might be okay. Okay, there's that. I think the what's it? The stuff is still not quite as bright as I would like it to be. I'm gonna add a little bit more down here, I think. Okay, yeah, that's better. Let's actually lighten this up a little bit too. Come on. Hey, Luke. Just stopping by. Just wanted to say hi. Well, hi. Thanks for stopping by. We're about done here. We are at time. Do I have time to do the bubbly real quick? Let's see how much I can get of these little bubbles. They need to be way softer. And that's, yeah, that's not the right layer type. Oh my gosh, I just moved my neck in a weird way and it hurt. Ow. Um, Oops. Put that above all that. And then maybe I can do a little bit of something something with these. All right, I think that's it. Look at all that glow. That went surprisingly well. I usually struggle with glowy effects and stuff, but these actually turned out pretty decent. Dang! I really like how this one turned out. Oh, this fun, some fun stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for coming, guys. I hope you had fun. I will not forget this time to spin the wheel. We are spinning the wheel. I forgot last time. We are doing it this time. Where's my wheel? All right, is the wheel spinning? Why is the wheel not spinning? Okay, looks like Aurora Borealis. Thank you. Let's find our next challenge. Oh, is it another limited palette? Oh, oh, I thought we were gonna get line work for a second. Okay, well, we're doing another limited palette. We had one of those before. There's still a few that we haven't landed on yet, so I hope we'll get to those at some point. But for now, next week is going to be a limited palette. Honestly, I kind of wish I had saved this one for limited palette because it is a pretty limited palette there. But yeah, that we did one last time, or not last time, but we did one in a previous stream and it was tricky. So that's going to be interesting. Last time I picked out one that had a relatively simple palette to begin with. I don't know if I'm going to try a more difficult one next time. That'll make me work with more colors and ration them even more strictly. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah. So, next week I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna be doing because I still have not picked the next stream game. We finished Of the Devil, and I'm still deciding. So the next stream is going to be Of the Devil art stream. And then we start another game, I guess. And then next weekend, I'm actually not sure right now if I'm going to be able to do a speed paint next weekend. Just because apparently it's supposed to snow and my grandparents have enlisted me to help them shovel. So I might be busy next weekend, depending on the weather situation. Yeah, I guess we'll see. All right. I'll figure something out, I guess. But yeah, thank you for coming. Feel free to check out the donation page if you guys are interested in that. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye-bye.